I'm Michael Miller, and today I'm representing Iran180, a new movement which has been launched by Americans to demand that the regime in Tehran do a 180, a complete about-face on their abysmal human rights record and their aggressive pursuit of nuclear weapons.
Joining me here today are New Yorkers from across the political spectrum, representative of the rich diversity of our great city, who have gathered to declare in direct and simple terms, we demand a complete 180 on Iran's policies which threaten world peace, suffocate democracy, and spread violence and bloodshed. Enough is enough. Enough of the torture in prisons. Enough of the killing of innocents by groups funded and directed by the Iranian regime, and enough of Ahmadinejad's quest for nuclear dominance. Iran180, do it now for the sake of humanity.
The message of this declaration is simple: human rights, not nuclear rights. End Iran's pursuit of nuclear weapons, weapons that would have devastating consequences for the world. End Iran's total disregard for individual freedom, the discrimination and the mistreatment of ethnic minorities, religious minorities, women, and children.
It's not just about when the victims look like us. No, we have to speak out against injustice wherever it occurs. Cambodia or Nazi Germany, decent men and women are required to step out of their comfort zone and raise their voices. We can no longer today tolerate a conspiracy of silence when the Iranian Prime Minister masquerades as a legitimate elected leader of appearing before the United Nations.
We cannot and we will not allow or tolerate a nuclear Iran. The truth is plain as day. Iran is an existential threat not only to Israel, not only to America, but to the entire world. The International Atomic Energy Agency estimated earlier this month that Iran now has enough nuclear material for 3 nuclear weapons. The sanctions that we passed in Congress with my colleagues here standing with me will make a difference.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, JCRC, for bringing us together, a diverse group of New Yorkers, part of the Iran180 coalition. The message is a simple one, as you've already heard. Yes to human rights, no to nuclear rights. And certainly from our point of view as an investor, picking up on what the Senator and her congressional colleagues are working on, we've made the judgment that it is a risk for us to have investments in companies that are doing business in Iran.
Think about what he has done to his own people. If you are a woman in Iran, you are repressed on a daily basis. If you disagree with his government, you fear for your life. If you are even thought to be a member of the LGBT community, your life is literally at risk and probably will be ended by the government. This is not a legitimate world leader. This is a man who seeks only to repress and to wreak havoc against countries that stand for freedom.
The leader among the hypocrites is President Ahmadinejad, whose rhetoric is beyond the pale. Now, some might say that words do not hurt. Those of us who have seen words from Nazi Germany that were also beyond the pale, that people didn't believe, that just said, let's see what's going to happen, saw what those words have led to.
Our message today is simple. It is not too late. Iran can pull itself back from the brink. It can do a 180. It can end the repression of its people. It can end its censorship of public discourse. It can grant equality to women. It can end discrimination of religious minorities and gays. And it can cooperate with the IAEA and dismantle its nuclear weapons program.
Thank you. I'm here to tell everyone that those of us on the Foreign Affairs Committee speak with one voice on this issue. Not just those of us that are subcommittee chairs, not just those of us that are in the majority, but everyone, both parties, on the Foreign Affairs Committee we speak with one voice to say that we are not going to sit by and allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. You know, on Thursday, when the dictator Ahmadinejad steps down and to talk to the UN, he shouldn't be allowed to address the UN. He should be arrested for supporting international terrorism.
My name is John Ruskay. I'm the Executive Vice President and CEO of UJA Federation. We partner with JCRC in everything they do, and we come here today to endorse Iran180. Look who is here. We come across all lines, black and white, Christian, Jews and Muslims, Republicans and Democrats, to state clearly what the President of Iran is about is anathema to all who care about peace, all who care about human rights.
Hitler posed the greatest threat to the survival of the world and to the survival of world civilization since the days of Stalin and Hitler. We took Hitler seriously, but not soon enough. We took Stalin seriously. We must take this threat seriously. We must not regard words as mere words. Words in the possession of people with real power are dangerous. They betoken action. And anyone who read Mein Kampf and said, well, plenty of people said, when Hitler gets power, he'll be more responsible, we saw what happened.
But there's another Iran, and that's the one that we are all here to speak for today. It's an Iran that wants to have free and open elections, and we demand that the other Iran be heard. There is another Iran of young people who are educated and open-minded, but their voices are silenced, and they rightly fear taking to the streets and protest because of the violent brutality that we've seen on television in the past few years from anyone who speaks out against the government that exists. Their elections are fraudulent. We demand that they return the other 2 of 3 hikers who inadvertently wandered into Iran and are now being held in that country today. We demand that their government recognizes the human rights of citizens that supersede whatever is the operating government at that time.
He is not a legitimate world leader. He should be arrested for what he has done to the women of Iran, the abuse that he's given them, for the torture of dissidents and activists, for the harassment of his opposition leaders, for the blatant and cruel discrimination against all minorities, including the gay and lesbian community, and because of his continued threats to freedom in that region and throughout the world, especially to our friend and our ally, the State of Israel. For all those reasons, crime tape should be wrapped around the UN, because we know a crime will take place later today when he speaks before the rest of the world.
Thank you, Congressman Crowley. It's now my pleasure to call upon Congressman Anthony Weiner.
Thank you very much, Michael. You know, there are a lot of benefits to being from such an international city like New York, but every once in a while, and this week every year, all of our bridges and tunnels, all of the people of international import coming into our city, but one snake slithers onto Manhattan Island this time of year. And we are all tested on how we respond to that. And I can tell you, the United Nations behind me, you see the top few floors are under construction. If the United Nations does not stand up to Ahmadinejad, what are they even here for? You might as well stop the reconstruction now and tear the building down. If the United Nations does not exist for the purpose of stopping outlaw rogue nations like Ahmadinejad's nation of Iran, they should not even exist.
So this is another moment where we focus our attention on one of the greatest evils in the world today. But we really want to help the people of that country who are crying out for democracy, who have put their lives on the line. We need to stand up too and say to people who are supposed to be our friends that they need to stop collaborating with Iran. And let's have a united front to once and for all end this threat to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Everybody knows the UN is located in this borough, a borough of great diversity, a borough of great tolerance. That's why it's so disconcerting today that this individual arrives here with a message of hate, with a message of quadrupling executions in his own country, and somebody who we must speak up against.
This regime has clearly stated and has every intention of exporting the violence it perpetrates against the people it claims to govern to the world at large. The Iranian issue cannot be a tool for the left or the right to fight each other with. We Iranians are the best reason for international responsibility and reconciliation. So I call upon world citizens to stand with Iranians who bravely fight to free Iran from the clutches of an unelected and despotic regime, which is, within itself, a weak and crumbling structure anyhow.
Presente. I stand here as a Latina, I stand here as a mother, and I stand here as a Christian. And I call for the justice of the people of Iran. And I call for this end of a government that threatens our world peace. Presente.
I support the comment of my colleague here, and we are asking for an end to this terrible government of Iran.
What many people don't realize is that there's a deep theological reason that motivates Ahmadinejad. He believes that the 12th Imam will be a Messiah, and that this 12th Imam is already alive in the world, and he's waiting for a moment of great chaos in order to take over. So chaos is actually a positive thing. Millions of people dying is a positive thing from this terrible theology.
I would like to voice out to our Muslims around the world and here in these nations, in this country, that it's time to stand up against terrorism. It is time to stand up against violence, radicalism, and extremism. It is hurting Muslims even more than anyone else. It is time for Muslims to stand up strongly and boldly courageous to speak out against extremism.
We, along with other trade unionists, have signed on to the Iran180 declaration because the right of workers to join unions free from the most dire intimidation is not respected in Iran. I am proud to be here to express our collective solidarity with the working men and women in Iran who are forced to struggle for freedom, democracy, and workers' rights, and who are repressed when they demand respect for these rights.